We are a few days before the special day, the 10th day of Shvat. As we know, the 10th day of Shvat, this is the day, the Ilula of the Rebbe Rayatz, the previous Rebbe, and this is the day that our Rebbe took the leadership of Chabad until today. So for Chabad Hasidim, for Jews, for the world, this is a very, very special day. Special as we see today the great accomplishments that the Rebbe accomplished and changed the world for Mashiach to come. Let's talk about one idea, one line in this expansion, how it relates to the Rebbe's change of the world, to the day of Yud Shvat, that's when the day started to change the world. And as the Rebbe says, the continuation from the Friedrich Rebbe. That is the day he passed away. And let's learn a lesson from that. In this expansion, we're learning about the last 3 plagues that Hashem gave the Egyptians. But the real focus of most of the Pesukim in this parasha is about the last one, called the Makad Bechorot. Makad Bechorot, as we all know, is the last plague that Hashem said that every firstborn of the Egyptians will die. And this was the last plague, and after that, Am Yisrael was going out of Egypt. We're going to redemption. One idea there, Hashem says that I will pass by the land of Egypt, and that's when He will kill all the firstborn. And as we know, that Hashem Himself is the one that came, as was saying in Haggadah Shel Pesach, Lo al de Malach, Lo al de Shaliach, Ani yu v'lo acher. Hashem Himself came down. And as we learn, Hashem came down to Egypt to do this plague. And why did Hashem have to come down? God can do it from wherever He is. So the explanation is that in the same time when the firstborn Egyptians, died, at the same time the one above, God, had to watch and make sure to save every first Jewish boy, every Bechor of the Jews. When God says to do the mitzvah of the Korban Pesach, as we learn the details in this week's parasha. But Hashem had 2 missions. The mission to wipe out the Egyptians, the firstborn Egyptians, that's not the hard one. God can do it from wherever it is. But to come down and to make sure that every firstborn Jew to be saved, that's the mission that God says, I got to go down block by block, house by house, and make sure to skip those houses where the Jewish people are there, not to kill the firstborn. But as we know, the story goes even deeper. And as Rashi points it out too in this parsha, that when Hashem was making sure about separating from the firstborn Egyptian to the firstborn Jew, there was a hard job. And why was it a hard job? Because would it have been firstborn Jews in the houses where Jews are, and firstborn Egyptians in houses of Egyptians, maybe it's not so hard. But as Rashi points out, there were firstborn Jewish boys. At the night of the Seder, they spend it with their Egyptian friends in their homes. And God came down to make sure that even those Jews, that they are in the Egyptian homes, to save them. And that's a mind-boggling thought if you think about that story. That God comes down into the world to make sure to save a firstborn Jew. Which one? Not the one that celebrates Pesach Seder in his house and does everything God says. He's not doing the Seder. He's by the Egyptian. And look what's going on. It's the 10th plague. The miracles are flying. Everybody believes in God, in the greatness of God. And this particular firstborn Jew, he doesn't care, unfortunately. And he's busy playing a game with the Egyptian in his house. Do we have to save a Jew like that too? And God says yes. God says he's doing the extra effort, and he goes down there to make sure that in the Egyptian home, if there's a Jewish firstborn kid, even though his behavior is very far from good right now, we gotta save him. We gotta bring him out, physically save him, and spiritually save him, get him out of this impurity. And this is the beautiful lesson of this expansion. And this is related to Yud Shvat, as we said before, the mission of the Rebbe giving us. That we gotta make sure when it comes to save a Jew physically, spiritually, it's not only the Jew that celebrates a Seder night. You gotta go search for the Jew that's in the Tumah. It's in the impurity of the Egyptian. He plans the Seder night, playing with the Egyptian in his place. That Jew, go down there and save him. That Jew, go and bring him back. And this is our mission, the Rebbe says. And that's the Yud Shvat, the first Farbrengen of the Rebbe says. We gotta go out there, we gotta do it. And the Rebbe explained this in the Maimer of Yud Shvat. That idea of building the Mishkan, the tabernacle for God. When he explains the idea that we need the planks, the krashim with the planks to build the Mishkan in order to bring God into this world. And he says Keresh is in Hebrew 3 letters, Kuf Reishin. But these letters comes from Sheker. Also the same 3 letters, but Sheker is lie. Negative, impurity. You got to change the Sheker, the lie, to Keresh, the plank for the Mishkan. That's our mission. On this we're learning from God in this week's Parsha. Go down there, God says, into the house of the Egyptian, into this impure place. And the Jew that's involved with him, bring him out, bring him into Kedusha. We got to take this message to this Shabbos and to the Farbrengen that we're going to have and the Yud Shvat Farbrengen of this year. Learn from this. It's not a celebration of the day. It's a celebration of our mission. Let's all of us go out there. Yes, it's impure. Yes, it's not a good place to be in. But if a Jew is stuck over there, bring him out. And this will bring Mashiach, as our Rebbe says. This will bring the redemption. As they had the redemption, then they came out of Egypt. We should have the redemption that we have Mashiach in Meretz Hashem, speedily, even before Shabbos. Have a great, beautiful Shabbos.